Hey loves, welcome back to my channel. So today I wanted to show you guys what I have been up to in my Hemlock and Oak. So this planner, I think I told you guys, is like my main planner. This is the planner that primarily took the place of my Happy Planner. And so because my Happy Planner originally was like my all-in-one planner, you know, I had dailies in there that I didn't really use, and I had weeklies that I used a lot because of the dashboard layout, and then I had a little other bits and bobs sprinkled in and out. I wanted to basically transition from the disc to a book bound because I was tired of my pages ripping. So there's a little bit of a dilemma with book bound because you don't have that flexibility anymore to interchange your pages like I was doing in the disc. And I have considered a ring bound system for reference material specifically, and I have not thrown that idea out. I'm thinking a little bit about revamping or changing some parts of my system, not the Hemlock and Oak particularly, but some parts of like my pocket planners. I'm thinking maybe a pocket ring system would suit me best for the type of things that I'm doing and the type of things that I like to keep track of. But I'm trying really hard not to spend money, unnecessary money, on new systems unless I for sure know. So I'm really trying to give my smaller systems a chance before I come to the conclusion of swapping it out for maybe a ring bound system, to see if that works a little bit better for what I'm trying to do. But what I wanted to share with you in this video is primarily how I've been using and how this planner has really took the place of my Happy Planner in total. So when I did my last walkthrough of the Hemlock and Oak, I basically did a flip of what I've done for the bases of January, and I talked about my reference book, which I keep here. And like I said, I wanted to include a ring bound system because there are some issues with book bound. You know, you don't have that flexibility with interchanging pages, removing pages, you know, things like that. So I mean, it's still up in the air, but right now I'm primarily using a field notes book for my reference. And then because this is my main system, I've went ahead and I've thoroughly went through this and set this up as my main system. So I won't do an entire flip because I've already done a flip of this from, you know, the start of January to where I ended my dailies from that particular time of use. So what I'll primarily do in this video is kind of flip back and forth between like what I was doing in my dailies in January and what I'm doing in February, and kind of hope that that gives you guys some ideas of how you can use your Hemlock and Oak or any bullet journal if you have one. So I did take the liberty in filling out my ideal routines page. I basically filled out two because I wanted to have an idea of what my routines would look like with certain things put in place, like whether or not I'm working out, whether or not I sleep in. So I wanted to have that in place. So I just have them tucked into here. And right now I have the I need to swap this around because right now I have the, oh no, I'm sorry. I have the week schedule. So Monday through Friday, we have a particular week schedule. And so this is the one that I'm following. The other one is primarily dedicated to like the weekends. Okay. So I already talked about this. I ended up using this page for overflow of upcoming tasks and events from this section because it doesn't have a whole lot of space for each month. So I'm just using overflow in here, and then I will just use sticky notes. Okay, so this will help if I jump to February. So February, well, let's backtrack a little bit. So for January, I had started to use this sidebar for primarily like upcoming events, upcoming tasks, things that necessarily I didn't have to put into the box, but things that might have been happening during that week. And I've been loving this. I've been loving checking this off. This has helped a whole lot. So definitely recommend doing that if you're using this planner. They do give you the check boxes so that it makes it a little bit guided so that you can use it for things that you can check off. I've also been looking for another way to kind of track certain things. So maybe with my March month, I might do some habits here and just kind of use like the chart to track certain kind of habits. So I might do that with this following month, which is March. Okay, so for the bulk of January, I think I hear my son getting up, so I might have to pause, step away for a second. I'm trying to show you a good week, or a good day rather. Here, let's talk about this. It's not too covered up, but let's talk about it. Okay, so for the bulk of January, what I had been doing is basically just my schedule and then just filling out all of my to-dos in this area. And what I noticed is that a lot of my most important to-dos would get lost in this because basically this to-do list had no direction. And when I was in Germany, I was using a system called the Chrono Plan. And a lot of you who are familiar with my channel, you might also be familiar with the Chrono Plan daily inserts. They are European inserts, and they basically have a basis of your scheduler, so your timed schedule, and then you have your events, and then you have your task. Or no, I'm sorry, you have your events and tasks, and then you have your projects, and then you have a area where you can check off your projects, and then you can categorize them from importance, so what must be done now, and then later, like as in A, B, and C, so later, and then what can be delegated or moved on to the next day. So in this planner, I tried to go back and look at some of my older videos and try to replicate some of those ideas from the Chrono Plan into this. So primarily for January, I was doing just the basis of like my general to-do list and just checking it off and using my signifiers between a check mark as being done, an X if I didn't do it, a dot if it was in progress, an arrow if I needed to migrate it to another day, right? So when February hit, I wanted to test that theory out to see if splitting my to-do list up would work a whole lot better for me. And I think that this works so much better than this because, or here we go, good page. Than this, because if you can kind of see between the two, now your to-do list has some sort of direction. As before, my to-do list didn't have a direction. It basically just had a baseline of these are all the things that I need to do, and I was using this top part for some of the top things that I needed to do for each day, but it didn't have any direction or any indicator of what needs to be done first for this given day. I am a stay-at-home wife and a stay-at-home mom, and right now my husband is deployed, and so I'm doing a lot of the things that my husband would have usually taken care for us. I also have a lot of appointments. I'm also taking my mom to some of her appointments, and then I also take care of my son. So my days are pretty full. They're pretty busy these days, and with all of that being said, I do have things on my own agenda that I need to kind of get done. They kind of help when I have it this way, because now I can see like what needs to be done first versus, you know, me just kind of just going off this to-do list and then going down the to-do list like, okay, did I do this? Did I do that? Did I do this? Now with my to-do list set out like this and some of those bigger tasks being highlighted now I can see all the important things that need to be done, and I can check those things off first. I can do those things off first. I also need to get better at categorizing my to-do list in order so that all my A's are together and all my B's and C's are together, because right now what I've been doing is just when I sit down to plan, I've been thinking from the top of my head, and I've been putting all of my things off of my head onto this paper and then going through and categorizing them from what needs to be done and what can I put off and all of that. So I need to get better at kind of categorizing it before. Right now it kind of works. Also, I'm loving the fact that I'm decided to use my dot markers to highlight some of those appointments, because when I was just doing the highlights for, me and my son, like my son was in blue and I was in red, that kind of gave me a signifier. And sometimes I switch the colors around, but it primarily gave me a signifier of what was my window and what was his window. Now I'm just highlighting miscellaneous things that happen, and then highlighting the bigger like appointments in the dot marker, because I feel like I need to differentiate the two so that I know what the heck is going on for each day. I still use these little arrows down here to basically draw attention that there is an appointment, because if for whatever reason my eyes don't necessarily go to my schedule, I can still see that there's an appointment here. So it's a backup, and it's also keeping me accountable for keeping track of what the heck is coming up. Okay, so I have been doing that. I've also decided to kind of thread my pages. This is an idea that I got years ago. Someone mentioned to me to thread my pages, and I didn't know what threading was. And so I've taken some of those bullet journal type ideas and implemented them into here. Even though this is a dated planner and it primarily is a planner where each day has space for note taking and to basically make a to-do list, sometimes I might overfill this and start planning or writing notes down here, and then forget that, oh, I have more tasks that I need to tackle or more things that I need to do for the day. My son is waking up, so I'm going to step away for a second. I'll be right back. And we're back. Okay, so what I've been doing is and I just started doing this, so I believe that this will continue on into following weeks and days as space is needed. But what I've decided to do is that any day that I don't have, particularly the weekends, because the weekends are not as busy, but any day where I have space allotted that I don't necessarily have anything written in this bottom section, like for example here. So if for example I can always put a page flag on here too. That also helps me to go back, and I can label page flags. So this idea that I'm thinking works for me, because I'll go back and I'll check pages. But let's just hypothetically say if I don't want to use a sticky note, I don't have sticky notes available to me to use. If I have a day, say particularly, let's just say this day is really, really busy and I've written notes down here and I ran out of pages. I don't have a sticky note nearby. I'm not planning this day yet, but I still have space from the day before. I can use this day, excuse me. I can use this day. I could draw a line here. I can date this bottom section and make a little note, a side note to myself that this is for this day. I can put a page flag on it, and I can just flip back and forth until I get all the tasks done from here and then all my tasks done from here. That's primarily what I've done with this page. So I ended up doing all my to-do lists here, and then I ended up writing something here without realizing that, oh snap, I have overfill from this day because there's things that I forgot to do. And so I ended up writing a date here and a little note, and I just kind of put all of those things there, and then I put migrating arrows so that these are still things that I was able to get out of my head and onto paper so that I wouldn't forget them. But now I know I need to delegate them to another day. So in all actuality, it is a way of threading your pages using that space to continue on to another day. So even though this is dated for Saturday, February 3rd, this is still part of Sunday, February 4th. It's just me crossing a line, dating it, and then migrating what needs to be migrated over. Okay. So I recently got, I'm doing a series on my channel. It's all about pint-sized planning. And I wanted to do this because I was getting a whole lot of questions about smaller planners. And granted, I know a lot of you who have followed me, watched most of my older videos, and that's primarily where you come from, is when I was using pocket rings and pocket bullet journals and stuff like that. And I love that you're here. I hope that you're getting a lot of inspiration from my planning style and some ideas from my system in itself. So I want to share things that can be translated across every type of planner that you have, not just specifically for pocket planning. Okay, I want to be able to share things with you that you can use, that whatever season of life you're in, these things will still work. Okay, so I recently got so I already had a PDF file that I purchased from Etsy that had a gigantic file full of different type of sticky notes. And because I don't have my printer, my tools here to print said sticky notes, I pretty much uploaded my file to Vistaprint, and I got these printed for me in sticky note form, because my printer doesn't print sticky notes at all anyway. It basically just prints out the file, and I basically have to cut them and then tape them in like this. And as you can see here, the ones that I got printed from Vistaprint are a little bit smaller, box wise, font wise, everything, than the ones that I printed, which are a tad bit bigger. I kind of prefer the bigger one over, like this shrunken version, but either way, they work perfectly fine, right? So the reason why I'm bringing this up is because I wanted to highlight some things that I'm doing in this planner that also help. Yes, it will add tons of bulk if you do this all the time. As you can see, basically almost every single day I have like something taped on my page, whether it be a weekly, a sticky note, anything like that. But the good part about sticky notes is you can remove them versus me taping them in. Oops, and I did not know that was folded, versus me taping them in and doing this, because bottom line is you can move a sticky note around versus taping it in. Okay, so that's the basis. But anyway, what I wanted to do is share not so much the appointment one, but these two weekly routines and goals ones. Okay, so I wanted to share these with you because these are going to make a ton of a difference in your planning system. So if there are things that you do every single week, if you're using a daily planner or a weekly planner, doesn't matter. If there are things that you do every single week and you don't basically want to keep writing them like this, these routine sticky notes work wonderful for that. So if you're taking a medication, if there's this particular routine that you do, these kind of sticky notes work really, really well. Again, I found this file off of Etsy some years ago, and I basically just kept the file and I just print these sticky notes. This was probably one of the best purchases that I made from Etsy, PDF wise, because I can use these. These are perfect. I can translate these through planner to planner. The size will not change, okay? The next one that I want to share is the goals one. This one is really good. So if you have a week where, okay, there's this week and you want to get something particularly done, or there's a list of things that you want to get done in this week, give yourself a small goal so that you can accomplish it. Put a date on it, make it concrete. So I was reading a book and I really wanted to finish this book because there's a new book that I wanted to finish, or start at least. So I put a date on it. I wrote it out, I put a date on it, and I can check it off because I finished that book today. There's a couple of other things that I want to do book related, so I put dates on them and I'm going to try to meet that deadline. There's some things that I wanted to do for YouTube, for you guys, and I put a date on it and I'm going to try to meet that deadline. So giving yourself a little bit of direction, but also something to look forward to, helps in planning. And these again are sticky notes, and you can translate them from planner to planner. You don't necessarily have to use them for like books or anything like fun related. They can be work related. So I like these too, because if you're working and if you have work tasks that you need to get done, put a date on it, get it done. So I just wanted to share that sticky notes have been a tremendous addition and great addition to my planning system. I'm going to flip back really quick because I kind of bent my page here and I don't really like that I did that. So I'm just gonna straighten that out a little bit. Okay, so next thing that I decided to add to my system, because not this, I'm moving things. The next thing that I decided to add to my system, which I think will be very beneficial, is because this planner has a small space for health and wellness, although I use it to write out what I'm doing for health and wellness, but you can also keep track of. So just another little tidbit, if you're using this planner or any planner similar to this, or just any planner in general, you can keep track of your weight. If you want to keep track of your weight down here, you can keep track of your blood pressure, your sugar. So long time ago, about almost 3 years at this point, when I was pregnant, I was keeping track of my blood sugar. And so you can break this little space up between your fasting, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You can just write the numbers down here, and then basically put some kind of signifier so that you know it's that. But it's a small space, and you can use this small space to basically track small health and wellnesses. But what I've decided to do is add an actual health and wellness book into my system. So I actually have 2 different type of books that I'm adding to my system. These are from Plum Planner, and if you know, you know, but I used to love Plum Planner so much. I was buying all my junior discount stuff from them, and then when I ended up ruining it, I ended up going to Happy Planner, and then I started to love the classic size over the junior size. And I do like the classic size a whole lot. So now that I know that Plum Planner definitely makes a similar 7x9, I can definitely just keep with my Plum Planner. But I bought these particularly for this system because I didn't want, like I said, I don't want to purchase a new system this year unless I really need to, like how I'm considering pocket rings over my book bound pint-sized planners right now. But right now that I'm in this system and this is my main system, I need something for wellness. So I am taking a new medication. I'm working with my doctors, I'm working with dietitians to basically get out of pre-diabetic ranges. And so it is really important for me, as I'm on my health journey, my weight loss journey, to keep track of all my progress. So I know that Plum Planner has a wellness journal. No, it's not the best journal in the world, but I think this will help just a little bit. Maybe for the time being, until maybe I can find something a little bit better than this. If you guys know any wellness journals around this size, I can get in a stitch bound book that I can keep in here, so that way I'm not lugging too many books. Definitely let me know, because as of right now, I don't know many brands. I just know like what I know. And so basically this book is for 6 months, and it gives you space for 6 months to write your wellness goals. And right now my 3 top goals are working out at least 5 days a week, eat more fruits and veggies. That's something that I think a lot of us struggle with, and that's something that I'm trying to work with, is eating more fruits and veggies. And I try to be very conscious about the things that I'm eating now, and eat out less. I realize that as I'm here with family, I tend to eat out a lot more because I'm tired, because my days are long, my days are busy. And so I find that if I eat at home more, if I buy foods that I'm willing to cook and willing to eat more, then I'll eat out less. And every month, what I intend to do is basically reevaluate these goals. If I need to add goals, if something pops to mind that I'm thinking of, I can add that goal. But I'm trying to keep it just between 3 basic goals, something more attainable than just writing goals down. And then maybe I can write like a mini reflection of each of those goals. And that's what I intend to do for each month. So this wellness planner has about 5 weeks for each month, and it has a space. This is also a insert that I had in my junior discount. So if you are familiar with my channel, like I said, and you were with me when I was using Plum Planner, then you might have seen this in my junior discount section along with my meal planner. And I talked about how the 2 work together, because when you have recipes and meals that you are willing to cook, you're willing to stick to your wellness goals a lot better, right? So although I don't have the wellness wellness book, or I'm sorry, although I don't have the recipe book with me, I have the wellness book. And so what I have done here is that I'm writing my activity. There is a space to write your activity and the things that you eat. So what you've ate in a given day. Granted, this space is not enough to keep track of all the things that you eat. So basically, you're writing your breakfast, your lunch, and your dinner in this area. And I recommend that because this book gives you a little bit of space for reflections, I don't think it gives you a notes page. It does not. I recommend, instead of doing a wellness reflection, is to write out all the snacks that you ate for that given month. You can even use a sticky note if you feel fit to write out like all your snacks, because granted, those are things that you should be tracking too, along with your food, your meals, because those make a difference in all the calories and the carbs and the fats that you take. So when you look back and see what you've actually ate, you can see it, like you can see what you've intaked, and that you can make your judgment as to what contributes to your weight loss or what contributes to your weight gain. This area here is very important for me, tracking my water and my sleep. For the most part, I have not been getting a whole lot of sleep. I've been maxing out at 6 hours. My goal is to get more sleep versus 6 hours. Sometimes I get 5 hours. That's not really good. And of course, if you're trying to lose weight, if you're trying to establish healthy routines, then you need to be getting more sleep. Water is something that I primarily do really good at, but I need to do better at, because I only drink water, but sometimes I don't drink enough water. Sometimes I'm drinking out of one water bottle, and in my mind it registers as I've drank water all day, but realistically I haven't drank a lot of water. So in some ways, this insert is really good for getting you started, and I think that it will definitely get me started in the right mindset. It is a little too much as far as tracking your weight every day. I cross that out because I don't feel like you need to check your weight every day. I think you become scale happy when you do that. So maybe checking your weight once a month and just block out all the other days that you've tracked your weight will help, because then you aren't so much focused on the numbers, but you're focused on everything else. If I could change one thing about the Plum Planner wellness insert, I would get rid of tracking your weight every single day, because realistically that's not healthy. And yeah, it's just week by week, the same thing, and you can write the weeks. And at the end of the wellness journal, like I said, you have your wellness reflection here. You have the basis to map out like how well you've done here in numbers. You can write numbers, you can write little notes, signifiers, you can do that here. And then they give you a reflections note page, and you can like basically journal about your wellness experience. Again, you can use this for notes if need be. That's what I intend to use it for. And then the next one that I've decided to incorporate into this particular system is finances. So this is one that I haven't started yet, because finances are really personal, and I want to sit down and I want to really think about our finances. I've spent a lot of money, and I really want to get better at not spending recklessly on planner related items. I want to just use what I have and be more conscious about the things that I'm purchasing. Also, this is going to help our family financially. And also, I never intended or never planned to get a YouTube check, but when I started getting one, I realized that now you have to pay taxes on this. So again, I wanted to keep track of that. And also, things that I want to do for my channel, like I would love to give back to all the people who have given to me from YouTube. Like, I appreciate all the things that you guys sent over the years. And so budget wise, we just don't have it to do it like that. I see people do it like that, and I just can't. So I'm extremely grateful for all the things that you guys do for me, like giving me things, sending me things like that. So basically what I want to do is get better with our finances. This is something that I used to be very, very good at when I first started planning videos on my channel. I used to keep in my ring planner a financial section where I basically logged every single thing that we spent on paper, and basically it helped keep a reference of what I was spending, what we had. I know that you can do this digitally, but digitally doesn't always help because you can kind of just rely on that to do it for you, and sometimes you don't really know, so it helps to do it on paper. So I'm going to try this out. It's just like the insert that I had in my junior discount. Again, if you're familiar, I also had this insert in my junior discount. It goes month to month, so you have your 6 months at a glance, like what you spent, so you can see it this way, and then you have your monthly expense breakdown where you can write your fixed and not notable expenses to plan for. So things that come up, things that aren't necessarily planned, like last month I spent well over $300 on our car to get some things done, and so yeah, that was an expense I intended to pay but ended up paying. Okay, and so like I said, you just have like your fixed expenses, and then you have your actual expense pages where you can keep logging all your expenses throughout the month. And then you have your notes page here where you can make little notes, or you can use this scratch paper to do a little bit of math, which is what I usually do, which is just like try to figure out certain bills, try to figure out where money is. I usually have some sort of a notepad or something where I do that. You can do that here. And it's not supposed to look pretty, so I guarantee this probably won't look pretty. It'll look very messy, and there'll be a lot of scratching out, and yeah. But yeah, that is my system with the Hemlock and Oak. I wanted to share this with you guys because I wanted to kind of keep you in the loop with my planning system. I always hope that these videos are informative. I always hope that they give you some sort of idea for your own planning system, and that you guys can take away something from that. I am, like I said, I am heavily thinking about like moving out of my bound book planners, my pocket bound book planners, and into like a pocket rings. I've considered personal rings, but I think if I did that, then that would defeat the whole purpose of my Hemlock and Oak, because space wise. But I'm thinking about pocket rings only because, and here I'll share a little bit, only because I realize that I've become very decorative happy in these planners, and not to say that that's not a good thing. It's definitely a fun outlet to decorate every week. But I've become more decorative happy, but I also realize that there are things in here that I kind of wish were like together a little bit. Like I kind of wish like my trackers were with my actual weeks a little bit. I still really like the Leuchtturm planner. I just wish that instead of having all my trackers here on one page, that they were month by month or week by week versus me having to do that. I also realized that I tip things into the daily section a lot because space-wise, realistically, there's not enough space to do both your to-do list or your schedule unless you write really small. And I write small, but not small like that. So there's just not realistically a whole lot of space. I realized I never finished checking my to-do list off for this particular day, but I checked it off for, gosh, wow. I checked it off in every other planner. Okay, well, there's something that I can go back and look over and see what happened there. But yeah, I just realized that I'm doing a lot of more tipping in here. So like I've been tipping in meals, which is keeping track of like the type of meals I'm eating. I realize I'm using these routine sheets a lot for some of the things that I've repetitively kept writing over and over, which is why I decided to just order sticky notes for these type of things, because you get 50 sheets with the sticky notes, and that should be enough to carry for out the whole year. But yeah, there's some things that I just realized that I kept writing over and over. And although I really like this system a whole lot, I really do like this system. I need to fill out Wednesday, but realistically speaking, this is a little difficult to navigate through because I'm working out of two different books. So what I may be tracking in here is different from, you know, what I'm tracking in here. And I would like to keep my trackers together. I just wanted to give you guys like some sort of idea into my actual planning system so that one, I can still share ideas with you, and two, I can also give you some sort of direction as to how you can make something like this work for you if you are also feeling this kind of way. So for the kind of things that I'm doing in here, that's why I believe that a ring bound system would work a lot better for me, because now, you know, like I can put things in perspective in the places that I need them to be versus them being all over the place like they are kind of in this book. In some ways the book is better because all your inserts are here, all your dailies, all your weeklies is here, your notes, because these books come with extra note pages in the back, and then the daily also has an extra note page, but everything is here, you know what I mean? And so there's no split the year, have your inserts in one section. It's no split between that. This I've also been testing out. I haven't done this week in the weekly book per se, but I've also been testing this out because again, I wanted to see what would work better for me. I had decided to use this monthly for finances, like just keeping track of my general spending. This is something that I still need to go back and do if I want to do this. But again, I am just navigating through what is working and what is not working in this system. The Hemlock and Oak planner is definitely working fabulous. I believe that that is probably one of the better purchases that I've made. These smaller planners that I'm craving to have, and I'm craving a smaller planner for the sake of portability, just being able to take it with me when I need it, and still have the same information as my Hemlock and Oak. These smaller planners that I've chosen this year are kind of, I like them. They're doing something good for me, but at the same time, it's fighting against me. Like the Leuchtturm is a great planner. I believe that it is a really good planner and a planning system, and I like everything that I'm doing in it, but I do feel like I need to kind of simplify this, and rings are probably my best bet as far as getting all those things that I'm doing in one spot, in one like general location. And yeah, like I said, I tried the Midori Hibino and I didn't like, I couldn't vibe with the planner in itself. I just didn't like it. But I often pull it out and just kind of see like, would this had worked a whole lot better than the Leuchtturm and this together? Or would that had worked a whole lot better if it was just this? Like, you know, just this book and maybe that, or maybe I could do the same thing that I was doing in the Hemlock and Oak, and do that in my Leuchtturm. I'm sorry, I'm getting all these names mixed up. Maybe I could have done in the Hibino what I'm doing in my Hemlock and Oak, which is using a weekly sticky and then using that note page to kind of navigate that second note page in the Hibino to navigate through. So these are all ideas that I'm having, and I'm trying to basically map out what would have worked best versus what I have now. And as I go through these changes and make necessary changes in my planning system, I will definitely share those with you, especially because I think that a lot of us want to use a smaller planner, but we just don't know how to navigate to get all the things that we want into such a small system. So if someone else is working through it and they can bounce ideas around, maybe you can take some of those ideas. So that's what I intend to give on my channel, is just give some of my own thought process between navigating through the smaller size and kind of sharing that with you. At one point I used to not really like A6. It just wasn't my jam, but I like it bigger than a pocket because pocket is really small. But yeah, I've even considered like 2 Stology notebooks and using one primarily for note taking and dailies, and then one for weeklies and health and wellness. That's another thought that I'm considering. And yeah, as I, like I said, as I navigate through this system, especially these notebooks and things, I will take you along with me on that journey. So I hope you guys got a lot of inspiration out of this video. I didn't intend on sharing my pocket planners, but I wanted to kind of give you a basis as to where my system is going. I definitely have to go get my son, but I wanted to get this video out to you guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got a lot of inspiration from it, ideas from it, and I will see you guys in my next planning related video. Bye guys.